What anchor text should you use for links to your website? That's what we're going to talk about today. I'm Doug Cunnington, the founder of Niche Site Project. And if you're new to the channel, have a look around. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing. Depending on where you learned about anchor text, you may think that you should never use exact match anchor text, or that you should only use like branded keywords. And it's really unclear because there's tons of information out there. In the past, Google really relied a lot on the anchor text for the links to help understand what a website, what a URL should rank for. And at some point, marketers like ourselves, SEOs, they started using exact match anchor text really heavily. And at some point, Google came back, saw the abuse was happening, and then adjusted the algorithm. What anchor text should you use? That's what we're gonna eventually get to, but let's take a look at Ahrefs' case study where they looked at a lot of very detailed data about anchor text, and they actually utilized their database and all their information and did an analysis. So let's have a look over there.
A data-driven guide to anchor text and its impact on SEO. This is the Ahrefs blog post on anchor text. I encourage you to check it out, and it's by David McSweeney. Very thorough. It is from about 2 years ago. However, I believe most of the assumptions hold true. And before we go on, I'll just show this part. What is anchor text? Anchor text is the visible clickable words as shown here that link one web page to another. They can be internal, they can be external. And for example, in this sentence, the blue words are the anchor text. All right. So that's kind of what we're looking at. We're going to jump down to the case study. So one thing Ahrefs has is tons of data. So they looked and they checked to see the influence of exact match anchor text. And I'm just going to scroll down to the conclusion part. So the inference is the data would suggest that exact match anchor text still has some influence on top placements in competitive niches. The average is high, but as mentioned, the data is skewed somewhat by certain niches. So they would err towards median results and suggest a percentage of 1 to 2%, i.e. a low number, 2 or 3 would be safe for exact match anchor text and potentially help with rankings at a page level. All right, so that is inference. Number one for this specific exact match. As far as phrase matches, that's a little bit different. So let's get down to the inferences there. The data would suggest that the anchor text containing a target phrase continues to influence rankings. The average and median figures are closer than exact match, and it would appear around 30% of the anchors containing a target phrase would be desirable and safe. And it looks like it's an even split between do follow and no follow correlating with rankings. All right, so that's with 51 keywords that they looked at. Then for case study 2, they looked at 16,000 different keywords over 320 pages total. So lots of data here. They looked at a few different correlations. And the inference, I'm just skipping to the good part, so go and read this whole thing for yourself. It appears that higher ranking pages tend to have a larger percentage of exact match anchor text in their backlink profile. Surprisingly, the correlation of partial matches and anchor text links wasn't too prominent, but the percentage of links from the total backlink profile of a page. What if we look at the raw number of referring domains with both exact and partial match? And that's where a little bit more information came away. So the takeaway here is anchor text links from a variety of different domains correlate with higher rankings. That's why I usually just look at referring domains, not the total number of links or even the specific anchor text. All right, experiment number 2, and then we'll get back to the regularly scheduled program. We're looking at the inferences here. So in cases where pages had an equally strong backlink profile, it was the percentage of the partial match anchor text that mattered the most, while the percentage of the exact match anchor links stayed more or less consistent across the top 5 results. So, does anchor text influence rankings? Yeah, it does. Basically, it does, but you don't want to overdo it. And the caveats that they mention here are, this is just a correlation. It doesn't necessarily point to causes. They emphasize, Ahrefs emphasizes that 200 ranking factors are out there, but the point is, if you have some partial matches and maybe a few exact matches for your anchor text out there, it's a good thing. Let's get back to the other part of the video.
Obviously, anchor text is important, and there's a high correlation between having keywords in your anchor text and actually ranking. Now, let's talk about links to your site very specifically. Now, if you remember the other video about where you should have your links, whether your links should go to your homepage or your inner pages, let's think about that. If you haven't seen that video, have a look at the link in the description, or I'll put a link to the card, but some links should go to your homepage, some links should go other places. So for the links going to your homepage, most of the links should be like branded, whatever your brand is or the name of the website. So for me, Niche Site Project. Most of the links should be Niche Site Project. Other links can have an anchor text of like the URL, right? So I don't do as many URLs where it would be like nichesiteproject.com or HTTPS and the full address of the site. You could do those, but most of the times I want brand. Now for me, since my brand is closely tied to me and my name, a lot of times anchor text to Niche Site Project may have my name in it. So Doug Cunnington is the anchor text and it links to my homepage, nichesiteproject.com. So those links go into your homepage, brandable or naked URLs. Those are pretty good, and maybe a small percentage of them as like generic. So click here, something like that. Most of the time I want branded though. For the other links, your links to your inner pages, these are potentially your informational articles or your affiliate posts. What anchor text do you use there? I really like to have the title, right? The title of the post. That is a very natural and common way that people link to other posts online. Hey, check out this article by Doug. It's all about starting an Amazon affiliate site. And maybe that's the name of it, starting an Amazon affiliate site. So using the title, oftentimes that is not only natural, but it has keywords in there. So that's a good thing. What should the other anchor text be? Well, I basically try not to overthink it. I try not to have like specific patterns. I think if you are aiming for a percentage every single time, then you are putting yourself at risk because you have a pattern, and if you're trying to implement a specific ratio for every single one of your pages, if you pick the wrong ratio, then everything's affected and it sort of looks like you're trying to outsmart Google and the algorithm. You don't want to do that, right? Because you're probably not going to be able to outsmart them. So for me, I just have natural anchor text. And what does that mean? So I try and have long phrases that are keyword rich. So keywords will be in the phrase, maybe even the exact match may be in the phrase, but it's surrounded by other words in the anchor text. So if I'm trying to rank for Amazon affiliate website, I may have an anchor text link that says, here's how you could create an Amazon affiliate website, something like that. So it's a long phrase, but we do have the keywords in there. Another partial match that maybe doesn't have as many exact matches would be, here's how you can create an Amazon affiliate site. So maybe just Amazon affiliate is in there, and then I used site instead of website. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it. And again, my whole purpose is to make this look natural and random, and like another blogger, if I'm posting a guest post on another site, I want to make sure that I'm being diverse in how I'm linking and just trying to not have patterns. So a lot of times if you look at a very diverse backlink profile, say for like neilpatel.com, most of the anchor text is going to be just other, right? So we can have a quick look at that. Most of the anchor text is just other because there's so many different links going to the site. The main idea to remember is try not to have like a pattern, right? Just be natural. So if you overthink it and you try and have a specific anchor text ratio for each one of your pages and then your site overall, it's probably going to look suspicious, and you'll probably make decisions that are short-sighted versus if you could just get a link and be natural, use the post title, use long phrases, use partial match keywords so it's natural, or LSI keywords. Those sort of things are good, and it sort of like forces you to not have a pattern, and you don't want to have a pattern show up. You don't want to leave a footprint that you're like, building links or even publishing guest posts with a specific like pattern in place. Don't do that. So natural is good. Thanks for checking out the video. And if you're interested in more frequently asked questions, please leave a comment. Let me know that you like that kind of stuff. And I'll also place a link to my site, nichesiteproject.com, where I have tons of frequently asked questions in the written format. So if you want to read, you can check that out. I'll put a link below and a link in the card. Thanks.